Up, up. Ah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Joystick Stream's Beginner's Guide to Bungie's Destiny. My name is Anthony John Agnello, Joystick Community Manager, and today I am joined by Mr. Mike Suzik, Joystick Editor.
Hello.
And Mike is at this very moment guiding his warlock around the innards of the tower in Bungie's Destiny, and we are about to give you a very exhaustive detailing of your many options when you first turn on Destiny.
Yes.
And this is the day when that's necessary, right, Mike?
Yeah, it is. We're at launch day, and there's going to be a bunch of people that are wanting to get home and dive in. And the thing is when it comes to these tutorials, they teach you the basics, but sometimes I found with Destiny, with both the beta and the full retail game, that just it feels like it drags on a little bit. You want to get as fast as you can through it and get into the missions and get your levels up and everything, and so the quicker the better, I found. And you want to also know that you're making the right choice with your class and stuff too.
Totally. And there really is no there's no way to skip some of this stuff that you have to deal with at the beginning, right? Like,
right.
All of these cutscenes, if you've seen them before in the beta, if you happen to play the beta, they're identical here. And if you want to just sort of cut to the quick, you've got to sit and watch a lot.
Right.
And it can be tough to remember all of the things that you need to do, and get to the meat of the game.
Right. So the one I chose, my favorite class early on, pretty much the only one I play as, is Warlock. And yeah, I mean it's got more of a how do you say, like, Anthony, when you played the beta, didn't you pick Warlock or did you pick another class?
I did indeed pick Warlock.
Okay.
And I was a lady Warlock.
Nice.
I had sweet dreads. I looked like Tracy Chapman, but
that's
wearing
right.
Adam Ant makeup all over it. It was awesome.
Nice. So yeah, Warlocks have a little bit more of like the sort of, I think of them as more of the mages, the three classes, where they have more of the powerful sort of spells that they can kind of manipulate, sort of, I don't know, matter and void and stuff around them. So their melee attack, as you see by the little orb in their hand, is like more of the sort of, I think of it as like almost like a biotic in Mass Effect. When you pick like a biotic, that sort of a class, and you just have that force push, that's more of what like your melee attack is. I don't know what the stat differences are necessarily between the three classes. I don't know if there is much of one, though, honestly. I just know that other classes seem to emphasize more of the gunplay, whereas this one, as your abilities go on, like if you look in the abilities chart, you can get a little bit of a peek ahead at some of the stuff. You have energy drain stuff that you can do, and you have ones that emphasize being able to, boost your abilities as well. And, some of this stuff is, I believe, similar across all the classes, and we can take a quick look as we're making them. But other ones, like the, force pushing sort of stuff, and, the bolt of void lights and stuff that you throw that binds different, buttons and stuff. So that's more of what the Warlock is like, and that's one that I rather enjoy. I think it's, in a game like this, it's really fun to have a character that you can, you can kind of play with as like a mage sort of character and do stuff that feels a little bit more fantasy-like, within the sci-fi atmosphere.
Totally. And, like, it's funny, that's not to say that you don't get, like, fantastical abilities with the other classes, and we'll get into that, as we were saying, in more detail when we start building them. But, the Titan class does feel, even though, like, they're not going to be explicitly stronger, they're going to have these abilities that feel more appropriate to certain classes from MMOs.
Right.
Like the Titan is your tank. You have more explicit melee abilities. Things where you can like build up a charged, attack with your fist and then jump into the middle of a crowd and sort of slam everybody around.
Right.
As opposed to the Warlock, which like goes James Bond style with their very first special move, and you get the golden gun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or wait, isn't that the Hunter class?
I thought it was. No, you know what? It might be
Yeah.
Hunter now that you say that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll do Hunter first then. You know,
Yeah, we'll get into Hunter first.
We'll get into Hunter first. So when you start up, you know, you enter your screen and all that stuff. I think I can go options, probably settings over here, and then if I log out of my character, I can change my character. So that's a nice, easy way if you're already in a character and you want to have, you know, multiple build characters that you can play with, you know, right when you log in, you have your options. So we'll create a new Guardian. And, yeah, I mean, if we want to just take a quick look, just to kind of read through it with people, the Titan Armored Engine of War, like you were saying, sort of the tank of sorts. The Striker smash the ground and dissolve enemies in a maelstrom of arc light, which sounds awesome.
Sounds totally. Anything that says dissolve enemies in a flash of arc light is pretty awesome.
Right, the thing I love is smashing the ground. I mean, that's very Iron Man-like. Defender, shape void light, or was Iron Man? Did Thor do that too? I don't know. Whatever.
Let's be clear. Every single significant Marvel hero has done the giant smash the ground maneuver.
Yes, and then
at some point.
and then the sort of fist on the ground and then lift their head up and look kind of
right,
like,
yeah.
you know, the same thing literally everyone does now. I mean, I'd love to see like Kermit the Frog do that. You know? Then I'll be sold.
Done. Absolutely.
Kermit
I want
the
them
Titan.
to make a Lilo and Stitch sequel, and then Stitch can do that.
Yeah. So then that's Titan, and then of course you have like level 15 is when you get these other abilities as well. And obviously since the game just came out, that level wasn't accessible in the beta. I can't tell you what those are like because I've never reached it yet. So, you know, like we said at the top of the hour, by beginners for beginners. I really mean that. So the Defender, Shade Void, you know, the Titan also has like a sort of shield ability that they gain. The Hunter, a master of the frontier, stalk and kill your enemies with ruthless precision. They have a gunslinger ability that they have at the outset, which has a flaming pistol that disintegrates enemies with solar light. Which, yeah, powerful shot off the bat. And then, yeah, the Charger Blade with arc light, consumer foes with lightning at level 15. And then we have, like we were saying before, the Warlock, which the universe bends to your will, manipulate its energies to annihilate your foes. And the first one that you get, hurl an explosive bolt of void light at the enemy, disintegrating those caught within its blast. So it's more of a, it's kind of almost. I think I've caught multiple people in sort of the path of that too. You know, as far as like the melee and stuff, and the bolt of void light is kind of, isn't that more of the grenade sort of thing that they have going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they're describing. So I like Warlock. What we're going to do for the sake of starting a new character, though, we're going to go Hunter, right? I think we're down with that? Okay.
Yeah. King of Epic in the chat has asked, what is the level cap? And a few people have been discussing it with him in the chat. The soft cap for levels right now is 20. But as Alexander has said in the chat, 20 is... Putting it that way is very limiting, because there's rare gear that you get. You can continue to level up your gear as you use it. And that's something that we're going to see when we play. Even early on, you start leveling up the weapons you have very, very quickly. And that affects how they feel in combat. That affects their effectiveness against enemies that are a higher level than you, though not quite as much as you might like. Because, man, if there is an enemy that is just 2 levels above you, they are sponges. But, yeah.
Yeah. So, when you start creating your character, you obviously have the pick between male and female of 3 different species. So you have human, or races, I guess. Then you have awoken, which are like these, you know, they start out blue, but I mean, you can change their skin color, which is neat. And then the exo, which are the self-aware machines, which are, I don't know why, I always seem to pick exo.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You like the robots?
I like the robots, and the main reason why is that when I pick the robots, I tend to take this dude, I change his head feature a little bit, and you know, maybe I don't even have a head feature. I know that I've done it before, and he starts looking like Garrus from Mass Effect. So, I like that's kind of why mine looks the way he does. But what we'll do is, why don't we do like an Awoken? I never see them. Maybe I'm just missing it or something.
I know exactly what you mean. It seems when, especially again, you know, my experience is primarily with the beta, and when I was wandering around, nobody was awoken. It was either humans or robots, and that was it.
Right.
And you know, I'm partial to blue skin myself.
Of course.
As, those of you in the chat who caught the Sims Real World here on Joystick Streams last week.
So what we're gonna do is, yeah, we're gonna make Anthony's blue-skinned Smurf wife in Destiny. So yeah, as you see, it's all presets, and the presets are fine. But I mean, your character is gonna be covered with a helmet most of the time. I mean, it's, you know, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but it's nice to have some sort of flexibility, just to a small extent, so that way you feel like you have some sort of individuality compared to other characters. So I think, personally, I like the purple skin. As you see, though, the shades for the Awoken, not all that different from each other. They're all cool colors. They're not, you know, red or anything, which would have been cool. Or warm, I guess, technically. But I like the purple. I don't know how you're feeling about this.
I'm kind of into the purple.
I'm into the purple.
So, Aha124 here in the chat has said Mike has name-dropped Mass Effect twice now.
Correct.
And it's making me falsely believe that I'll love this game with all of my heart. So I find it fascinating, and you're going through this character creation really sort of drives it home, how the aesthetic of Mass Effect has influenced this game.
Yes.
It does not play like Mass Effect. It does not even feel on a story level like Mass Effect at all.
Right.
But boy, did they look closely at the art style of Mass Effect and carry it forward.
And I think yesterday we had someone in the chat during our streams yesterday that said, you know, they didn't like the comparisons between the Geth and Mass Effect series and the EXO. But I mean, it's still applicable. You're not wrong at all. Like, there is very clear similarities with the aesthetic, and I think there's still a ton with Destiny that feels like it is its own game and its own universe. But you know, when you're running around the tower in third person, how do you not think about running around the Citadel? How do you know, when you're creating your characters and they're sort of standing and looking around, there's just so much that's similar from a visual standpoint to BioWare's games that, you know, I think it's totally valid to bring up. And it, you know, for someone like myself, I'm a fan of the Mass Effect games, obviously, as I continue to name drop them. That for me, you know, it helps me sort of decide how do I want my characters to look and appear, you know, and that's influenced, you know, my decision making too. And on top of that, you know, it's a space sci-fi themed game that's, you know, that's you know, obviously a comparison.
A space sci-fi game with somber earth tones everywhere,
right?
And an ambient electronic / symphonic soundtrack,
right? No, and Susan's right. Look, the Geth and the Exos are nothing alike. Of course, they're nothing alike, but at the same time, it's not just the, you know, from how they just generally look. Like, if you just look at them, no, they don't look all that alike. But at the same time, you know, if you look at the details of the sort of placement of the pieces around the mouth and, you know, stuff like that, there's still some sort of, from a design standpoint, some similarities that there's a reason why people are thinking it, you know, is kind of my thought on it, at least. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I totally feel it. I understand why people say no, not at all. But, you know, there's also a reason why people are saying I kind of see it, you know. I like those bright blue eyes, by the way. You know, thinking about just this game and how it compares, not a fan of that hair, jeez. You know, like, you know, if you really want, you know, if you're afraid that the Mass Effect comparisons are not only a little unwarranted or a little too much, I mean, it's a very different game still, but at the same time, I think, you know, the vibe of it does, you know, is something that drew me in personally to wanting to play it. and I think it, I think it works. You could almost make the case that this is similar to being, almost a Mass Effect prequel of sorts. First Contact Wars like or something. It's not quite there. It is very different thematically and everything, but I like to think of it that way. If I could put everything in the same universe, gaming wise, I'd be happy.
Mike, can you scroll down, or are those the only 15 hair options? What you see when you highlight?
This is
hair?
what I'm seeing when I'm highlighting here. That's it.
That's it. All right.
I don't know what we're gonna go with.
Mike, hold on 1 second.
Okay, sure.
Howdy.
So we have a couple choices. I don't know. I think I might actually go with the bald look. Maybe that just hits a little closer to home for me.
Mike, if you just heard a little bit of noise in the background, I would like everyone to know that was literally my copy of Destiny arriving from Amazon.
Well, there you go.
In the middle of our stream.
Very nice. All right, we need to get through this because we show people more than just creating your actual character as they look. So here's some cool stuff. I have pink eyebrows, no hair because that's rad, and it's really cool to not have hair, guys. Trust me. And I don't know. Let's give her some sort of markings. I like this one. We're gonna do that. And the marking color, stick to sort of the idea here. How's that purple look? I like it. It's a little light. We're gonna click finish, and there we go. We have a hunter.
Hello, Susan.
Oh my God!
Oh please!
You're killing me.
No,
You're
no!
Actually killing me.
No, I'm not.
A Mass Effect prequel?
Sure.
For God's
Have you read the
sake,
books?
It's nothing like it.
Have you read the
Okay,
books?
here is the similarity to Mass Effect. They have rendered the hips really, really well,
Okay.
and the running animations are very similar. That's about it.
Okay, I'm introducing you right now to the concept of opinions, and I have one, and that's okay.
Oh my God! It's like, okay, I think we just maybe need to have you play more sci-fi games. I'm not sure.
Hey,
Maybe that's it.
Susan, you don't see cosmetic similar, like, so if you're and like for today, we're firing up Destiny right at the beginning,
right.
and you don't see right out the gates.
I don't know how you don't see it. There is a very clear
similarity.
cosmetic similarity.
In that they are both sci-fi themed, obviously want to have terrestrial overtones, in that they want this clearly to be the work of humans, right? And are made to look very pretty. Nope. I am not going, wow, this reminds me of Mass Effect. No.
Okay, but
slightly.
but the thing is we're not alone. Other people are saying this, so clearly it exists. Like,
well, they're also wrong. I don't know what you want me to say.
okay, I'm still introducing you to the concept of opinions, Ken. Like,
yeah, hi, I'm familiar with them. It's just like, has everybody who's saying this is like Mass Effect, like the idea of like, oh, well, the mouth placement of the gap, that's because they're supposed to have vaguely humanoid features,
Yeah.
which, by the way, they don't. They look nothing alike. They don't look alike. They don't move alike.
you're really gripping on to the
Fine.
very overall look of the EXO, which I said as well is not all there, but that's all. I mean, I get it, but that's all kind of beside, like, we're just trying to introduce people because there is some familiarity for some of us, and that familiarity is there, and it does influence kind of how we view the game, although the game itself is very different from Mass Effect, and that should be known in case people latch on to those comparisons too much, and I don't want them to do that, because I wouldn't want someone to go into this game and say, oh, this is like Mass Effect. It's not really, and before you get too far ahead of yourself with that, but there are just some, like, the similarities between the two are visual, really, at best.
That's what I was trying to say when we were going through the character creation process.
Yeah.
Destiny and Mass Effect could not play more differently. Like, the fact that they both involve, like, sort of psychokinetic powers and guns, and they take place in a science fiction setting, But doesn't matter. They play fundamentally different.
That's just a cheat to get around the RPG advantage
right.
of being able to hit people with swords and also use fire.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
That's
What I see as a similarity between these games, and it's why I think it's notable with Destiny, because Destiny has been in development for years,
forever.
Like, this game is coming out at the end of a 6-year active development process, and even before that, pre-production on this years and years and years ago. And Mass Effect 1 went also through a long development cycle before the first one came out in 2007. And I think you can see some of the artistic touches from especially Mass Effect 1 born out in the way that Destiny has materialized in its finished form.
Absolutely, yeah.
And again, like, just aesthetic aspects, the palatial shopping mall style of the tower recalls the Citadel, and much in the same way that the Citadel recalls, settings from like 1970s science fiction films.
Yeah,
sure,
it's
yeah.
Logan's Run.
Yeah, it's exactly Logan's Run.
Yeah,
this isn't
to say that these two are in their own world. Like, there's obviously other sci-fi applications here that there are many like apt comparisons for. It's just as far as an immediate, thing to think about or compare, that's what's going to come to mind, especially because it's a modern sci-fi video game series that's incredibly popular. It's going to be probably the one that people are going to think about the most, aside from the even more obvious Destiny and Halo comparison.
Susan, I know that Mass Effect is a series that's near and dear to your heart, so
I love it. I absolutely freaking love it.
Yeah.
You might be able to help me remember the name of this planet. But
no.
So I bring this up to, like, what we're seeing right now is the very beginning when Dinklage is traveling across old Russia on his way to wake up Mike here. Mike's new hunter.
Yep.
This area looks so similar. Old Russia looks so similar to the planet where you first meet Ashley in Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
And there's that huge Geth attack. Her evil Garrus, whose name I can't remember.
That was the very beginning of the game, yeah.
The very beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And those two areas look so similar. You have that dusty light. You have this sort of red, rusty earth tones.
Right.
And lots of junk cars.
And lots of junk architecture. But not just, they're very, very similar.
Dude, you are smoking crack.
No, he's right. That's what he is.
Oh, no,
I see it.
Okay.
I see it. You can't look at the bigger picture with these things.
Eden Prime is
Eden
amazing.
Prime,
Eden Prime,
Well
correct.
done, chat. Very nice.
Well done. I'm very
Nicely
proud.
done.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about the bigger overall picture of this stuff. It's about some of the smaller details that just reminds us of other
Thank you,
experiences
Hoplite. No,
we've had.
they're nothing alike, except they are both outside.
Okay.
They
Right
do
now,
both
what you're
have
doing is just
scrub
speaking
brush.
opinions that complement your own. So.
All right, Susan.
Let's-
I'm literally reading the chat, Mike.
Okay.
I'm not sure what else you would like me to do.
I need to
Susan,
find
I'll
you a
put it
weapon
out
before
there.
the Fallen
This
find us.
Destiny is a straight ripoff of Rampage. There it is.
I think that's obvious.
I think that's clear.
I think it's more of a ripoff of Quentin Rampage Jackson, UFC fighter. Okay, so what we're doing is we're in old Russia, and this is the first tutorial mission. That it's like, hey, watch out! There's a bunch of stuff coming. We're gonna do a little scanning. Your Dinklage will guide you and then tell you, oh no, you need to get a gun, like ASAP. Get out of there. I got myself all turned around. Here we are. So stuff is happening, and they want me to start running, so I will start running. Where is the... I need a little light.
So this is something that definitely should be noted, is we were talking about how Destiny starts out a little slowly.
Yeah.
And
Hope you know how
this
to use
introductory
that.
period that's really, really, you have to do this. You have to do this little rush as Dinklage tells you what to do, and then you have to find a spaceship that'll get you to the tower and all that jazz. It's really hard to get a feel for your character class right out the gate.
That's true.
Like,
Very true.
this little area does not give you a good feeling. And the trouble with that is that you might want to restart. You might find that, the Warlock isn't for me, I want to switch to Hunter. And if you want to do that, you're going to have to do all this all over again.
You know something? I'm realizing watching this, because at this point I've done this level
like 5 times.
5 times, something like that. So when he turns on the lights and you see the Fallen crawling all over the ceiling and stuff, they like never do that again.
Yeah.
They're never that cool.
Yeah, that's
again.
a good point. I've never thought of that, and you're totally right.
Like that. I mean, it's a really great moment. It's really creepy. You're like, I am screwed, and it is never actually that neat.
There's more
ever
ahead.
again.
Right.
You know,
Keep it up.
well, I wonder if it's just that, like, again, you know, the entire joystick staff is diving into Destiny this week.
Let's see what's
and
inside.
Richard Mitchell, I think, has Richard Mitchell slept since 8 a.m. yesterday?
He had a brief nap.
He had a brief nap. He ate
Yeah.
a sandwich. Richard Mitchell is ceaselessly playing this game, so we really have to ask him, as he has the greatest experience at this point of the staff. But I'm curious if there are other sort of guided dramatic moments like this introductory stage, because
Trip mines.
there's
Don't touch
nothing
them.
like that in the first portion of Old Russia after this. There's really
Yeah,
nothing
sure.
like that at the beginning of the Moon. And
Oh, well, no, wait, there's a little bit when you fix your ship, which is at the end, which is a
alright.
couple levels in. He's like, oh, you know, Dinklage says something to the effect of, oh, hey, here they come, we better go. But not a lot. You've got flat-out cutscenes, and then you've got, hey, go shoot things, and not very much in between.
so, question, guys, will we, at a later date, get DLC that replaces Dinklage's voice as the ghost with the voice of the crazy little Wesley Ball that wanted to just go to space from Portal 2?
Wheatley,
Wheatley, thank you. But like, it's Wheatley's personality that's just like, we go to space? I want to go to space. Let's go to space now.
I would pay money for that. I would completely pay money for the Wheatley voice.
Wouldn't that be great?
I would
think
love that.
That would completely change the tenor of these opening moments. When
Well, the crazy one from Portal 2 is Nolan North.
no way.
It is Nolan North.
All right, so that makes 2 of my all-time favorite vocal performances of the past generation of games. Because the crazy one, I love that. I cannot believe that's Nolan North.
Yeah.
And Susan, did you play Ratchet and Clank: A Crack in Time?
No, I did not.
All right, I know we're talking Destiny today, but this is a little quick recommendation to everyone. Go play A Crack in Time.
Just a little bit further.
It is, in my opinion, the
So
finest
something
thing that Insomniac ever made.
Oh, wow.
And there is this side
was an old
character
Cosmodrome.
who's like this
There's gotta be
sad
something we can
sack
fly out
robot that has been taking care of this massive like space station by himself for an eternity.
Incoming.
And he sounds like a dumb, sad version of Merlin from The Sword and the Stone animated movie. And it's Nolan
Fallen
North,
ships,
and you would
this
never,
close to the
ever
surface.
guess it. And
Nice.
it's insane.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, I keep waiting for that sort of flair of like very memorable performances in the beginning of Destiny, and that's another thing from these early portions of the game when you really want it to suck you into the story. It's kind of a slow start, like in that regard as well. I mean, you've played this sequence many more times than I have.
Many times,
so.
yes. I personally, okay, it's not well written. We've established that the plot is basically written by a 10-year-old boy.
Spaceball comes from Mars! And then Spaceball says, the guy from Game of Thrones, don't tell Mom that I watch Game of Thrones! And he sends him out to get everybody dressed up like robots!
I'd watch it.
And the money is called Glimmer, and you can use it to buy a pony.
But I like the way the plot unfolds, the little details. I don't love that it is a lot of info dumps.
Yeah.
That's not particularly elegant storytelling.
Which is kind of surprising because Halo
Halo's way better at telling a story.
Yeah,
than
Halo
this.
doesn't really do that. Halo is all about like dramatic, cheesy incident. You know,
Mhm.
like they feel like old 1980s James Cameron movies more than anything else. Shuklar, the story is Earth Final Conflict. Accurate.
Yeah, that's
That is really spot on. Actually.
All right. Can't argue with that, really. But I did like that how it unspooled in this first section. It's like, okay, we're gonna wake you up. Here's the deal. Now we're taking you back to town. Although the tower is a stupid name for it because it's not shaped like a tower, but
Right.
okay. And now we need to get you a ship. Well, the ship comes before the tower, obviously. And then
Signs of an old jump
it's
ship.
very little,
Could
it's
be our
short
ticket out of
little
here.
bites. And I'm not sure if you actually made it to the Rasputin part, the war AI.
Oh, I did not.
Okay, that I think it starts getting neat for me. I certainly understand if other people find it lacking, but I think it's neat.
Mike, tell me, how is your hunter feeling? You know, we talked about earlier how you're very committed to the warlock.
Yeah.
And how's the hunter treating you? I mean, we did note that you don't get a super big sense of how the differences between the character classes at this point, but are you getting a sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an FPS expert or anything, so part of the problem is that it's harder for me to tell the differences between classes. It does, I do feel some sort of difference. Movement-wise, there's much, but I am noticing that I feel like I need to be a little closer, and I could be wrong on this, but I feel like I need to be a little closer when I'm doing my melee attacks. Like, I need to really get in there, and that...
I believe that's true, actually.
Yeah.
Because I play Warlock as well, and you can be a good ways off. You don't actually have to be right up on them.
Right. You just have to be knifing around with this one. You have to be willing to kind of get up close. But it does feel a lot more run and gun to me, but early on there isn't... I think early on, too, they don't show a ton of differences between the classes early. I think they'll really start to divide out more as you go further on. That's the sense I'm getting at.
There's a ship.
Well, maybe
Clear
we
them
could, at some point when things are not trying to eat your face, we could look at the skill tree and see what kind of skills the hunter will get.
Yes. As people saw, I leveled up to level 2, and I was able to just activate my grenade, which I should throw. And, yeah.
I love... So I don't know if you guys noticed in the chat that Alexander got his shipment of Destiny from Amazon as well during the middle of the stream. It's almost as though Amazon was like, come on, let's go.
I think Amazon wanted a shout-out on Joystick streams today.
Yeah.
Dang it!
They could have just emailed us, I guess, but...
Tricked us again!
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that means the one we are expecting at our house will show up soon.
Yeah.
As well.
So, well, that's what I wanted to bring up to those at home, in the chat. This is another little discussion point for you guys. Both Susan Arndt and her significant other, and Alexander Slawinski and his significant other, have decided that, that the only way that they can play Destiny properly together is you need another machine and another television in your home if you want to play local co-op. Which, that's a bridge that is far, and I'm sure for some players that might be a bridge too far to set up that situation. And I'm curious if anybody out there in our chat right now is going through unusual measures to make sure that you have local co-op when you start playing Destiny.
Been here a while.
And please go to joystick.com later today. That's joystiq.com, because we're going to have a little poll and a whole little gallery where you can share your co-op setup. Susan, how are you and Russ going to do it?
Oh, well, Russ and I both have our own separate gaming areas. The original plan when the Xbox One and PS4 came out was for us to each get our own. We have our own 360s. We play separately all the time. And he's never been a Sony person. He did not have a PS2 or a PS3. He used my PS3 occasionally, like he used it to play The Last of Us.
I'm going to break orbit.
But, so, yeah, the great thing about Diablo 3 is it actually has couch co-op.
Yeah.
So we've been playing that, and then when he played, we took turns for the Destiny alpha and beta, And so then he was like, yep, gotta buy myself a PS4. So that, I mean, with us it's a little different because we already have
Come back for them
separate
when you're ready.
gaming setups.
Let's get
So
you
it's just the natural progression of that.
Mike, you look like Proto Man from Mega Man.
I wish I were Proto Man. Don't we all
Why?
wish we were Proto Man?
You know what? That is like a skill. Just like to jump off from there. I when I've been playing Destiny in the beta, I kept wanting a shield of some kind, like a skill that was a defensive maneuver. And I don't know if there are any options for that.
I don't either.
Like when we go into the hunters array of skills, we need to check that out.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, we'll page through there, and then we can kind of do Titan as well quick.
yeah.
I think that would be a good one to check out. Yeah. So, I mean, that was the first tutorial mission, and as, you know, people were seeing that, how long would you say that took? A good
Yeah,
20
minutes.
20 minutes or so? Okay. I mean, if you run through, you can get through that quick, and then you start getting into the early missions, which still feel very tutorial-like to me, you know?
Oh, sure, yeah, totally.
And so it's the first few missions. The nice thing, though, is that as you're picking your weapons out, you know, you don't have to feel too much like you're committing to a certain weapon type and stuff, because you upgrade equipment pretty quick, it feels. Until you hit a couple levels in, then it'll start slowing down a little bit more before you have to, you know, get the right amount of glitter, and you know the right level amount.
Mariah Carey movies.
Right, yeah, it's you have to get the right amount of Geely to get there.
Oh,
So,
oh,
sorry, is that enough? Or
That makes me so happy.
but
Welcome to the
Right
last
amount of
station
Geely.
beyond
the right amount of
The
Geely to
only
really,
place
you know,
travelers
make it worth
build
your
their
time.
lives.
But yeah, I mean, it's the nice thing is that it
Centuries built.
it gives you an opportunity to kind of get acquainted with a little bit of the weapon types without feeling like you're really all in on something. Because at some point you're going to get weapons then that have latent abilities you have to unlock, and you know, that stuff. Once you get to that point, you're going to start feeling like, you know, you'll know what weapon you prefer. Like for me, I know with Richard Mitchell, our reviews content director, and I, both of us like the hand cannons. You know, which are minimal shots, but they pack a punch. And I really like doing that, especially when I'm meleeing. But, you know, sometimes I like the scout rifles, you know, and once you get to try them out a little bit, you'll know what suits you. But you'll see. We'll kind of go through this quick, you know, seeing the tower thing as well.
Mike, I gotta tell you, the evening light really brings out the purple in your face.
It does. It does.
I'm a little disappointed you're not just full bald, though. You have a shaved head.
I
in
am
this.
disappointed as well.
Right?
Yeah, look at that. That doesn't jive with me on a personal level. So yeah, here we are. Tower. We're at the tower. There's stuff everywhere. Not sure where to go. Just follow the icons. They're little like commanders of sorts here at this. What do you call this? Like the command center or something? This table?
The central
Vanguard.
end of the food court. Let's just all
At
agree.
HQ?
Can we all agree that the tower just looks like a mall?
Yep. Yeah. You know
It
what?
just looks like a shopping mall. So the place where you upgrade your weapons, that's Spencer's Gifts.
Right.
And the place where you get your
That's
missions
true.
is the
That's
mall.
true.
Up over
Yeah.
here is the Sabaro, and you want to just grab a seat for me, and just make sure you
Yeah.
get some of those red pepper flakes.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Susan and I are gonna go over to the PF Chang's.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
good.
good choice, yeah.
Pick up some appetizers.
Good.
Some apps.
Some
if you
apps.
will.
So we have our Hunter Vanguard here, and they're like, hey, let's give you stuff. Great. Provisions for newborn guardians, a set of hunter wire armor, and a stash of Geely to improve it or buy other gear. I love it. Give me some Geely, give me some armor. So yeah, I mean, already they tease you right at the outset with all the stuff you can't wear yet.
Right? I know.
And I mean, they make it very attractive looking with the dark purples and everything. Like, nope, not for you. You're not good enough yet, and you may never
did you
be.
want that? Oh, that's so sad.
That's too bad. So we'll open our character up, and it's really nice and convenient. You know, R2, you can just do a little quick comparison. Yes, that defense is higher. Let's do that. You see how it changes? Slight difference in color. I mean, some of it, you know, I kind of I kind of have a problem where there are times where I decide I kind of want to wear the thing that isn't as powerful, but it looks cooler. Do you guys do
Doesn't
that?
everybody do that? Oh God, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
absolutely.
All right, I was worried that I was on my own for that.
Until, going back to Mass Effect, until they actually made it possible to make your helmet invisible, I just didn't wear one.
Yep.
I'm like, I will take the armor class hit. I don't care.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Because I want to see my character.
Exactly.
Like, that is what I'm here for. And, like, there were so many times, and, like, that is just a common feature in gear-centric games. Like, Skyrim. I always wanted to see my character's head, but every single decent piece of defensive headgear would, like,
Stupid
just
looking.
disappear, and they look dumb.
Yeah.
That's definitely smart design here in Destiny. I like that.
Yeah. One thing that disappoints me about the tower, and in fairness, as the game rolls out, this will be far more populated with other players, is the lack of just NPCs just hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, just chatting.
Ones
just
that
saying
you can
something random
truly
or silly.
interact with.
Do you think
Yeah.
that maybe that is to prevent a sort of overwhelming visual clutter when there are so many people playing?
Perhaps, yeah, it may be a conscious decision. Like, we've only seen the tower under very specific circumstances.
Right.
So yeah, it's very, very possible. But I'd like in the food court, I would like it if there were other people to just not chat with necessarily, but
To hang out with.
add some flavor.
Yeah, you want the tower to feel alive. You want a sense of its culture, of its, of its placehood. You want it to feel like a place where you could like totally meet that cute guy that you saw in gym class yesterday while you're at the mall.
Terrible. I just want it to feel a little less like a bunch of menus.
I agree.
And the fact that you sort of disappear into a menu when you're talking to a merchant, rather than seeing like a pull-up. I mean, even World of Warcraft and Diablo and everything that Blizzard makes doesn't like bring you to a separate menu. It has like a menu that appears over everything else that's transparent, so you can still see the world while you're talking to this person and sort of maintain an illusion.
Although this is very pretty.
Yeah.
And all the information it's giving you is very nice and clear. It's very helpful.
Yeah.
It is very clean, I think.
Yeah.
As far as the design goes with the menus, it is very clean. So as you saw right here, you show up at the gunsmith, you get your choice of one of 4 weapons. And I mean, like I said, at first you might not know what you want to get yourself into with that, but you will replace that very quickly. Like,
that's true.
In the next mission, you'll find something that's like, oh, well, that's pretty powerful. Okay, that's it. Good to go. So yeah, they send you around a little bit in the tutorial yet, just to familiarize yourself with just the tower, the Citadel Tower, the food court. Sorry, the mall.
The mall. Mike, when you make your Titan, can you check and see that if you could be a robot guy like that merchant you were just talking to, with the sweet blue face and the yellow highlights?
The blue face and the yellow highlights.
Blue face, yellow
great.
highlights.
So cool, right?
We'll do that.
What are those stunt fighter pilots called?
The Blue Angels.
Blue Angels. They look like Blue Angels.
I'm into that. I think we should do that. And so, let's see. I don't think we have anywhere else that we need to go, so this would be our time to sort of cut back,
Wait, go back. I want to see how much the other ships cost. I just remember them being insanely
That's
expensive.
right, yeah. Good call. Let's look at that.
Jug Almighty just asked, is that a chat party or on PS4 talking? So this is something we should specify. We are streaming the PlayStation 4 version of Destiny today, but as always happens when we stream a PlayStation 4 game, we sort of have to cheat. And we have 2 methods of getting multiple voices on one of these streams of PlayStation 4 games, because you can't get a PlayStation 4 party chat when you're streaming natively on the console. So one of the ways we do this is we use a capture device like the Elgato HD, and then use Open Broadcasting System and Skype to host multiple people talking and Mike is doing our even lower tech version of that.
Yeah.
Mike just has a Skype call going, and the speaker for the Skype call just close to his microphone.
Yep.
That's it.
That's all we have
We're
to
classy.
Because
So-
we're classy.
do. So, Susan, you wanted to know,
Oh my God, there's so much money.
677 Geely is what I have, but it's 2250.
Ugh.
And then over here you have other blueprints for your ships, 4320, 2800, etc. You know, you'll collect it eventually, and then there are things like level 8 and level 5 for these, level 15 up here. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you're stuck with some things early on, but they also have to dole out stuff for you, you know, every once in a while to kind of keep you going, you know, like you're.
Right, those are the speeder bikes, and then those are the
Yep,
ships. Oh,
yep.
wow, you can't get a new ship until you're level 15.
Right.
Okie dokie, I won't worry about that for a while then.
Before we go to Titan, let's take a real quick look at the Hunter stuff that you can do. So, like, it's automatically going towards me getting a double jump, which is pretty rad. Then you have the Golden Gun, which is later on the Flaming Pistol one we were talking about. So, over the course of getting some experience, getting up in levels, I'll be able to get that. And these also can be upgraded too. So like double jump, better jump, higher jump. Unfortunately, these sorts of jumps I don't think you can really use in the tower area. So like we were saying in the pre-show, people like me that just want to climb, that just want to get on top of the roof, not going to happen probably. But you know, there are other things, throwing knives, which I think that's a Richard Mitchell special. I think he was doing that quite a bit in the stream yesterday. Yeah, these are more like, how would you say, as far as what these skills and abilities are focused on? They're focused on more of the melee and the actual gun battle, you know, as far as being a hunter goes. So, things to think about, you know, that's the path that you have to get to. But what we want to do is probably make the switch now, right, and get to Titan?
Yeah, good call.
Let's do that.
So Alexander's bailing because he has to go set up
He's got to go set up his massive rig.
his massive rig so that he and Shepard can play Destiny together.
God, even the box looks cool on that limited edition console.
Oh, the white one?
I don't need that. I
Oh
don't
no,
need
it's
that.
so pretty.
I don't need that. God.
But you know what? Here's how I'm consoling myself, Anthony. They will probably release a red one at some point.
Oh, that's a good
And
point.
then I will be like, take my friggin' money. Yes, this is ridiculous because I have a perfectly functional console. I don't care.
Susan, I know you're with me on this, but how much does that white PlayStation 4 look like the old Panzer Dragoon Orta Xbox?
Completely.
It looks identical. They're like
Yeah,
the same machine.
Yeah. And I'm pretty okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I support every aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah, God, that was so beautiful. Oh my God, that thing was gorgeous.
I every now and again am like, you know, that's a deep cut for everybody in the chat. Back when there was a Japan-only original Xbox that tied in to Panzer Dragoon Orta, and it was all white with these black highlights, super cool. And I still, every now and again, go to eBay, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
like, why not? You know, maybe somebody's
That's like
getting
me
rid of
looking
one.
that's like me looking for the Hello Kitty Dreamcast every now and again. I want one of those so friggin' bad. Oh, I like the little, like, it looks like Damage you got going on there on the side. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I like it. I want to stick with that. I kind of like the little splashy look on the markers.
Splash is cool,
The
yeah.
splash is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that's what I'm
We could
talking
change
about,
the color of the splash. We could go yellow to go with the whole yellow and blue thing. You guys like that?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a splash. I was thinking that was like battle damage.
It could. I mean, it kind of. Yeah, it's just
You know,
a
like
decal.
it scraped the paint off.
It's like getting pre-torn jeans. You know,
Yeah.
it's like pre-done battle damage is what we have
But
going
can we
on.
talk about what is this turtleneck you have on? What is that?
Yeah,
Some,
is
Susan,
that?
it's an
Susan,
ascot. He looks very sharp.
Susan. Sometimes, sometimes fighting battles on the moon just gets a little chilly. You know, you gotta be
Well, the
prepared.
atmosphere is really thin.
No, Susan, I think underneath all that armor, he's wearing a smoking jacket and an ascot And it's just when you get back to the food court at the end of a hard day of listening to Peter Dinklage, you want to relax, but you want to be classy.
I like the star, but I'm gonna stick with the splash. I'm gonna stick with the gold.
Oh, UPS just drove down my street.
Uh-oh, it's happening.
Is it?
Could be.
Oh my God! It's just consistent across the board. We're not going to say that company's name again. We're not. No more free advertising for that online-based retailer.
But I will tell you that it rhymes with Gramazon.
I was gonna go with Glamazon.
Ooh, it does. Ooh,
Hey,
I like that a lot.
Yeah. What it really says about us, though, is that none of us want to get off our butts and walk to the store. Really,
Correct.
that's what it says.
I did the even more lazy option, which was have it just download to my PS4 and do the PSN thing. I've never done that before. I don't have an actual disc for this game. It's all on the hard drive. So that was even more.
I know a lot of people did that for Destiny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Susan, I will say that I do take a walk for most of the games I get because I'm less than a mile away from both a GameStop and an independent video game set.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I would go just to support the independent one.
Well, the problem is that their selection is incredibly limited.
Sure.
And there are times where you'll just need something, and
Yep.
They just won't have what you need. They just won't have what you need, which is a shame.
Oh! They're stopping. Hold on, I can see them from my window. This isn't even for me. I have the game in the PS4 already. This is for my husband. I'm excited on his behalf.
Right.
Jug Almighty, yes, this is the beginning. We went through the beginning portion for the Hunter class, and we also took a look at the Warlock class, and now we are doing the very beginning with a Titan.
Right, so I was able to skip the intro cinematic, but I can't do anything about this part that we're in right now. You know?
What's waking you up?
Yeah, so no matter what, your Dinklage will find you, and you'll have to deal with that as you create more characters, which I don't know whether or not people, is it common for people to have multiple characters, or do they try and ride out the same one as long as they can? Normally I ride one out, but now that I'm making these, I know that I'm going to use all three, I'm committed.
Yeah.
Really? Do you think you will?
I think I will. I really do, because I think there are going to be times where I'm going to be like, I want to have this character for a certain, if there's a mission that I know I'm getting into, maybe, I'll know this one is better for melee options or something, that's the sort of process that's already going through my head. More likely than not, though, I'm going to be sticking with Warlock, but I do see myself diving into some of these other ones. Yeah.
Is it possible?
I don't know if that's common, though. I imagine that it's not going to be too common, though.
There you are.
I'm sitting here now waiting. I readily admit I put Destiny in my PlayStation 4 while we've been doing this. And then, it's the bane of the modern console. My PlayStation's like, you need to update your system software. I don't update my system software. You need to download the Destiny update. God dang it, game.
Actually, now I'm your go.
Thoughts on the upgradability of a PS3 or 360 version? T-Block set 81, I think that it's great that they offer that. That it's relatively easy from what we know about the process, and I think that it's going to be a very, very common practice with many different games for at least the next 2 years. Everything that sort of crosses generations of machinery like that,
we won't survive long out in the open.
It's a good thing that developers are embracing that. Jug Almighty, I'm betting the download for this game was 150 gig. Susan, are you back with us?
I am, yes. Sorry, I had to let Alice investigate the UPS thing.
Of course. What is the download size of Destiny?
Actually, I don't know the download size. I only know the patch size.
Only the patch size. Gotcha.
Yeah. The patch is on PS4 is
bring you back just for you to
300 meg, I believe. And
I need to find you a weapon
No, I
before
don't.
the
I don't.
phone-
I have
no.
a disc.
Actually, yeah, I can tell you that. I'm looking at it on my PlayStation 4 right now, and it's 21 gig, which is not that bad.
That's not terrible.
Mike, you were just getting super funky.
I was. I saw someone in the chat that was asking that we do the dance, do a little dance in the middle of you know,
Need more light.
hell on earth
I'll see what I can
essentially.
do.
Going through the starting level again.
Yep. I mean, it really is just such a bore. It really is. It's a drag.
Is it weird that I still kind of?
I think it's okay. You know, I mean, it just is a little bit of a drag to feel like you're doing the same thing.
You
But-
should just be. You should be able to skip the cinematics.
Yes.
I mean, you should.
I think that's really the main
Hope you
thing
know how to
that
use that
I'm
thing.
not a fan of.
What was that?
Yeah, I do like when games will recognize a save file on your machine and say, do you want to skip such and such introduction?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to skip this such and such tutorial? Because, especially, like, again, we were talking about this earlier, if you want to get a better sense of which character class you want to use, you want to be able to, try them out. And creating barriers for dramatic impetus is
Yeah.
not always the best call.
Speaking, going back to the game that I was playing on my PS4, Diablo 3 does that really well.
Oh,
you know, and that's a game that
There's more ahead.
really encourages
Keep
you
it
to
up.
try different characters and different play styles, and then also adventure mode, which has you going back to the same areas and fighting the same bosses over and over again. You don't have to see a single cinematic again, not one, not
Yeah.
a lick of dialogue, nothing.
A loot cache.
So it's
Let's
very,
see
very
what's
quick
inside.
to just, I would like to try the monk now. I would like to try the crusader. It would be really great if this did that as well. Admittedly, there's only 3 characters.
Yeah, there's only 3 characters. But you know what? Can't just everybody who makes an online game for PlayStation 4 or Xbox One at this point, why don't they just imitate Diablo 3
That would be
Ultimate Evil
great.
Edition? Just do everything Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition does.
Yes. Oh, I have a question for the chat. This is something I'm curious about, since this is the character customization show. And this question is for you and Mike as well, Anthony. Do you guys, when you make characters, do you try to make you...
Trip mines. Don't.
Almost never.
Assuming that's possible within the
Yeah.
confines of the game.
Almost never.
Okay.
I very rarely try to make myself. I always try to, back when, and this started with actually Fable and Fable 2 rather, and Mass Effect 1. I was always like, I'm going to try and create a character that is as far from my real life physical experience as possible. So I tended to make a late middle aged black woman. That was, yeah. So like my commander Shepard was like a 60-year-old, like weathered black woman.
I love it.
Close cropped hair, and she was awesome. I was so committed.
She's like
to...
Fitz Wallace from the West Wing.
Exactly, she's Fitz, and she was just a badass, and I loved her. And it was a shame because she looked more hardcore in Mass Effect 1 and 2, and then the changes they made to the way the characters were rendered in 3 kind of broke it. And the other one, and this started with Skyrim, is I like to make my wife. And and like this started as a joke because she was sitting on the couch next to me when I started playing Skyrim, and like the old artist thing where you like hold up your thumb and close one eye.
Yeah, yeah.
I just was my thumb was right next to her face, and she was like, "You're the most annoying human being that's ever lived." And I was like, "Yes." And I almost got it perfect. But my Skyrim version of her
Fallen played a whole bunch of
was
places in it.
she looked like
Just a
it
little bit
looked
further.
creepily like
Let's hope
her.
there's something
Oh,
left over.
that would bother me, I think.
It was, would it? Oh man, it was awesome. Like
Well, no. Well, and we're getting about even in the chat from people who always make themselves and never make themselves.
This
The
was an old
lesson I
Cosmodrome.
learned from Viva
There's got to
Pinata
be something out of here.
is to not associate people I know
Incoming.
or like with my video gaming
Fallen
in
ships.
any way.
This
Now
close
that
to the
is, that
surface.
is that is an example
Move.
that would surely sully that, because Viva Pinata is monstrously cruel and horrifying.
Yeah, like you're like, oh, well, I'll start gaming always after all my friends, and then they die horribly.
Yep.
Or, worse, you have to kill them.
Yeah.
How about you, Mike? Do you make you?
I once upon a time I did in games like FIFA and stuff where you do create a pros, and until I got into using EA's Game Face feature for their sports games, you know, that you can automatically like kind of scan a couple pictures and then you know online. Yeah, they used to. It's not as well supported in some of their games now, but in the past couple years they had this where you use an online feature, you know, on your PC where it scans in a couple photos, and then it drags what should be your likeness into a game. Except when you decide to use photos of Kanye West for it, then it's even better. It's so
Like you
great.
do.
So
Yeah,
so
no, I can see that. Yep.
Yep. So I wound up my coach. I was in a Madden league at one point, and my coach in that league is Kanye West. And
That is amazing.
Coach Kanye, by the way, Coach Kanye is a winner. He does not
Well,
take any guff. He is, you know, he's a defensive-minded coach because he's always defensive. I mean, it really, you know, it really suited my play style very well. So yeah, no, I mean, I think it's fun to have that sort of, you know, have a little bit of fun with that too, if you can. I think I prefer having more fun than I do recreating myself with people I know, personally.
Picking up signs
to kind
or
of
jump ship.
tell.
Render V, by the way,
Could
just
be our
a
ticket out of
final
here.
note on creating characters based on who you know. Render V said name your XCOM squad in Iron Man mode after your friends for extra stress. That is the mode where your characters just die
Yeah.
constantly.
I was part of several people's squads, and they would let me know when I bought it.
Yep. Yeah. And that
And-
is just tough.
Yeah. Like, oh man, isn't anybody keeping me alive? Come on, guys.
So I can say with controlling a Titan, they do feel just a tad slower.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe that's just me. Again, I'm not good at telling the difference, but it sure feels like it. And then the other thing, punching people in the face with your melee attack is so awesome. It's better than knifing people because it's just this disorienting. Look at them just, when you punch them, boom! Like, they just ragdoll.
That is, well, clearly now we know why Alexander Slawinski
There's a
stayed
ship.
committed to the Titan
Clear 'em
class.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't argue with that.
That-
That is
that-
a
That guy loves his face punching.
Sashay puncher. That is a solid punch. Like the Warlock, it's like, hey, back off.
Yep, the Warlock is back off.
Yeah.
The Hunter is like, here's a knife, you know, just boom, here's a knife.
Yeah.
But the punch is just, you're not
That's a
messing around.
compelling argument, man.
It is. It is. I think, if anything, like, that's the difference between the class that makes the biggest thing for me is punching people. It's so huge.
I'm trying to figure out where you are in this introductory mission.
Oh, he's doing the, he's about to get the ship.
He's
Go back-
he's right about to get the ship.
Yeah, so then he's gonna go up to the tower, and then he has to go to the food court and go all around.
Right. Get another slice of Sabaro.
Folks,
Yeah.
we are just past 5 p.m., but we definitely want to get to a place where Mike can check out some of the skill tree for the Titan here. You guys can see, somebody in the chat did mention that there is at level 15 for the Titan something that looks like a shield maneuver.
Oh.
So I definitely want to make sure that such a thing is present. The Jolly Geonog just said, I'm playing Titan just for that
All right.
punch. I'm
me see if
sorely
I can get
tempted
us
to
out.
switch over from
It
Warlock to
really
Titan.
is. It's pretty sweet. And that's why I know that I'm definitely going to wind up playing a little bit with Titan just for that punch alone. Can't
Been
skip
here
this
a while.
cutscene, of course. But
No.
yeah,
Hasn't made a
we'll
jump
wind up.
in
We'll flip over to the tower really
We're
quick,
lucky
and
the
then I
Fallen
can
have
just
completely picked it
pause
clean.
and take a look at skills. In
Will it
fact, we might
fly?
even be able to open up our character thing really quick
I
after
can make
this
it
mission.
work.
Yeah, there does feel like there is a very slight difference between the characters. I do feel like with Warlock I can run a little quicker, but again, it's so hard, you know, I don't think they want it to be that obviously different though either, you know? I mean, I think if they wanted it to be, it would be, you know? It does feel, if there is a difference, it does feel very subtle to me.
Okay. It's not going to break orbit.
Like,
It just may get us to the city.
Spaceship. Do
Now,
this thing. Do
about
that
that
thing.
transmat.
Save the world. Why can't I just hang out, Dinklage? I ain't never been to Russia before.
Bringing you in.
Mr. Calypso, I always make female characters, and I'm a guy. I tend.
You can come back to them when you're ready. Let's get you home.
Avatar as well. And you know, it's something I've just always done.
Jug Almighty, guys who says guys who always make girls creep me out. Some guys who always make girls are creepy.
That's true.
That is 100% true. But I find a lot of the guys I know frequently make female characters, and it is that pure escapism. It's something that is, you know, I don't want to be me. So what is the most not like me? And so they play as a chick.
Yeah.
When it's character creation, oftentimes when they're like in a fighting game, playing as a girl, it's because they're either faster or just better fighting characters.
I was literally just going to say that, Susan. And for me, like, that all goes back to playing Super Street Fighter 2 and preferring Cammy.
Sure.
Because she's so fast, and playing another Capcom game, Dungeons and Dragons: Shadow over Mystara. I didn't expect that to come up on the stream 2 days in a row. But the elf in Shadow over Mystara, like, kind of drove that into me at a young gaming age, that, like, this is a character that sacrifices brute strength for agility. And I always prefer agility when I'm playing a game over brute strength.
Sarah from Virtua Fighter.
Perfect example. Or Sophia in Soul Calibur. Like,
absolutely.
Sophia is the perfect balance of speed and strength. Man, they really ruined that character design over the years, though.
Oh, dear God, they really did.
Dear God, what happened?
So, I mean, so Jug Almighty, I totally get where you're coming from, because it's very easy to encounter guys who do it for the creep factor. Like, oh, I just want to look at her butt, like, which is... but no, a lot of guys are just doing it just because it's something different.
Mike, so what are you seeing here in the skill world of the Titan?
Whole bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff that really makes me want to play with the Titan. So you have, like, you know, Lift, which is essentially, like, you know, this class's jump and all that stuff. But the Fist of Havoc, smash the ground and dissolve nearby enemies. That's the one we talked about before. And that does more as you upgrade it. So, like, the third upgrade, or the second upgrade, I guess, for that, after jumping, Fist of Havoc can be aimed at enemies below, and then you can unleash a shockwave with the next one afterwards. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff with this. I think there's a shield in here somewhere. It seems like after sprinting you have a protective shield, but the main thing is you have your main subclass, and then what you can do is you have the Defender subclass that you get in level 15. And so once you reach that, that's when you have other stuff like a magnetic grenade, spike grenade. It looks like, here's what we were looking at before, the Ward of Dawn, a shape void light into an indestructible shield to protect you and your allies from harm. So that is one of the things that appears to be in the Defender one, that, you know, once you get to level 15, you get into the subclass, and then you have to, you know, get more experience to get this ability to actually unlock. So it's hard to say when you'd actually reach that point, but it is available in the level 15 subclass, not in the main one. The main one has the smash the ground one. I don't know if the level 15 has that too. I'm not seeing it. No, it looks like this is a different set of abilities that you do. So it's cool too, because it's not just the three main classes. Then you have the subclasses and the different abilities, and once you have these, you can kind of pick and choose what you would like to use as well, as far as what's mapped to, like, you know, your your controls and stuff, and really flesh out how, you know, you can define your character through its stats with, you know, equipment and stuff. So I think what I like about Destiny at the outset is that it seems very simple to get into with picking your classes, but then it can get more complex as you level up and as you get, you know, more opportunities to, you know, get new abilities and stuff too. So, and more Gili. You need more Gili.
More Gili. Mike, do you have any final thoughts on the 3 character classes before we bring this beginner's guide on home?
Warlock is still the best because it's Warlock and it rules, and the force push thing is pretty sweet, I think. But you know, they're all so similar that it's you know, it really, I think the unfortunate thing is that you might not find what you really love about the class until you get to a certain point with it and you get these abilities. Like with Titan, I love the punching. That's cool. But I don't feel like I'm really going to love this class until I get this Fist of Havoc, which means I'm going to have to take it through a couple missions and actually level it up to that point, which will probably be like level 4 or 5. And at that point, then I think I can tell whether or not I'm really going to love this, because that's an ability I'm going to use a lot. So it's just one of those ones that, you know, I would encourage people to check out each one and decide for themselves. See if they can spot any sort of differences with the movement and stuff. It's very minimal, so the nice thing is you don't have to feel like, you know, it's going to feel a ton different. But, yeah, it might take a little bit to get into to decide which one you're really going to like. For me, I'm still going to be Warlock for now.
As for the rest of us, Susan, Mike, I think it's time to just close this out and go play.
I think I'm going to just go play this, yeah.
Let's just go play this game. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us for the stream today. We're going to be continuing with our all-week Destiny streams tomorrow. Join us for the pre-show at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but if you're here at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be knee-deep in a session of the Crucible, checking out the PvP action in Destiny, and almost the entire Joystick crew is going to be playing for that. And on Thursday, join us for an all-staff roundtable here on Twitch and at joystick.com. That's JOYSTIQ.com. And we're going to be breaking it down with our full, complete first impressions now that everybody's going to have a little time to finish the game. And if you want to get a free copy of Destiny, we're giving away a ton of copies. All you really need to do is go and like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Nice.
We're going to put a link in the chat right now. And that is where you can get yourself a free copy of the game. We're going to have copies for literally every single platform and one limited edition for PlayStation 4. And in a few weeks, we're going to be giving away a PlayStation 4 Ghost Edition of Destiny and one of those snappy white PS4s. So just keep an eye out. Yeah, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus anyway.
Welcome to the last
we like video games as much as you do.
The only place
we'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Thanks again, Mike.
Thank you. It was fun.
And thank you, Susan.
Oh, always. Always.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.